good thing about being an entrepreneur and having that kind of honest discussion with yourself is, what are my skills? What's actually going on? Looking at those data points. It is constantly reinventing. I've changed the direction of even the restaurant many times. And yeah, I think that's part of it. You have to be creative. You have to pivot. You have to learn and grow. And it's exciting. That's the exciting part. And you're the one that gets to think of these. But this is why people like to hire entrepreneurs, because they do think they are creative in this way.
Yeah. So creativity, but also flexibility, and not be too attached to your first idea.
Yeah. I think it's important to understand that. So we wrote a beautiful business plan. It was gorgeous with all kinds of spreadsheets and everything. And I look at it now and it's just silly. But you have to start. You have to get started, and you have to go, and then you have to pay attention. And that's why I think it's important. That's why it's important to be flexible and understanding it, and also just paying attention to what's going on around you, what people are asking for. So yeah, it's important, but that's a good life skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Bridget.
I have a question that's more related to focus versus having broad knowledge when you're starting out. I'm in college right now on a gap year. I have several different ideas for entrepreneurial ventures, and I'm in the ideation phase, but I still have access at Penn to all of these guest speaker events and like other webinars outside of that, like this one. And so every week I've been going to all of these different seminars and webinars, and at the end of the day I have zero time to actually like work on my venture. So I'm curious what your guys' opinion might be, you and Alice maybe, on balancing like learning at my age when you don't know a lot and you're trying to be a sponge. Like, how do you balance these speaker events that only come once versus trying to get something off the ground and like taking steps to do that?
So I think I'm doing this ADU thing right now. And so I am taking all these classes, I'm learning, I'm trying to take notes and also be able to process and organize everything. But I think there's a lot of grit that comes with being a business owner. And I think that you just have to start going and doing it and trust that you have enough information, and you'll learn as you go, and it presents itself beautifully. It's an interesting thing that happens when you start going. So I think just start taking the first steps. There are things that are very technical, like incorporating your business. It doesn't cost much, takes a little bit of time. So getting the ball rolling, like I said, going to the city and just seeing what steps you'll need to start a business, or looking it up online, but just having that going, having some momentum, and then you can focus in on what you want to learn, because not everything's applicable. And whatever your venture is, you can just start narrowing it down on that end. But you don't have to know everything, and you don't have to, like I said, with this ADU thing, I've spent 1 week and I know 1,000 times more than I did last week. So you just absorb things and you move and you go, but you need to start. I think there's no amount. It's like the school of hard knocks. Like you're gonna learn things, but I think having a balance of both is really important. You have to be doing as well as learning.
My question. I have a background in architectural design and sustainability. So I was like, ooh, somebody's talking about modular construction, housing. I was so excited.
Yeah.
My question is like, initially when you were like training as a chef with Chez Panisse and other restaurants, your work experience might have been very technical. And as you started running your own restaurant, you had to learn skills like managing a team and managing leases, which were not like really cooking and putting your hands in the work. So how was the transition? Like, how did you handle the transition?
It was, I loved it. I think you, like, middle or management, I love. I fell into that really naturally. I really like the idea of figuring out what drives people and how to understand them. Like I said with the bookkeeping, that was a bit harder to learn, but I did it because I felt like it was important. The legal stuff, learning all of that was really challenging to read all those documents. I don't know how lawyers do it, but I felt like it was also important. But I think I had to adjust. I did have a clear moment where I had to switch gears, and that was, everything's fine, but I was 5 months pregnant and I got hit by a car, which was 4 years ago, and my shoulder was torn, and so I couldn't be in the kitchen anymore. And that was a big existential moment for me because I was there every day. I was cooking. Baby's fine. He's 3.5 now. He's a beautiful big boy. But that made me switch gears. And so I had to it forced me to physically step back and just say, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with my time? And I think if you can do that without being hit by a car, that's probably a better way to do it. But that was a transition, and I was, that year with me stepping back, I realized what my team was capable of with or without me, what they needed, and then I got more business savvy, and that I started cranking up the margins. I started doing all of this other stuff. So I think having that is just being able to let go of your passion. I love to cook. I think about it all the time, but I love running a business too. So I think you will learn that. If you're not, it's not for everyone. So whatever your weakness is, that's where you fill in. You hire the right skill set for the job. I was lucky that it worked out for me in that way, but there were definitely some internal struggles with that. Yeah, I just encourage you to identify what you end up being good at and going for that, and then just filling in the rest.
Thank you.
And Natalia, what you shared earlier with your numbers and all that was really revealing, and it was very helpful. I thought the specifics were really helpful with providing context. It's often said that entrepreneurs, even with a business partner, can be a very lonely journey. Did you find it? I don't know whether you had a chance to do this or had no time, but would you have felt that if you could have benefited if there was a community of restaurateurs that you could powwow with, or would you feel that you had no time, or they were competitive to you?
Not the competitive nature. A funny thing actually happened. I'll go back, but when COVID hit, I suddenly had this group of female restaurateurs, some of them like my idols, like Dominique Crenn and Elizabeth Pruitt of Tartine, I was talking to pretty regularly. And I had a group of women entrepreneurs that I spoke with weekly and bi-weekly because we were all kind of in the shit together and climbing through. Unfortunately, when you have, especially a restaurant, we never get together. It is fairly lonely, and it's not due to lack of interest. It's just a timing thing. Yeah, I think it is fairly lonely. I didn't really have any mentors that I spoke with. I think having a community is a good idea, and having that support group. Luckily, my husband's amazing, and he helped me. So it was kind of like an in-house team. And so that it's nice to have. He's been a great partner through and through with he did the marketing, he did the newsletters. So I felt supported, but I really got that after. And so it's been very interesting. In COVID, I would take this time to actually build that network. I think it's a really good time for people. I think people are open to it, and they didn't realize how lonely life was before in this position. So I've been reaching out to just pie in the sky kind of people that I've been wanting to meet, or people in my neighborhood, mostly women. But I think it's a time where we're open to this support idea, and it's a good time to be there. So I'm using this time, I reached out to the Golden Gate Restaurant Association and chatted with them. I've been getting on boards, which is a really good way to be a part of a group, is joining a local business association board. I was on SOMBA before, the South of Market Business Association. So I think doing that now is a really good, people are open to it. It's the first time I've seen anything like it, where you can just email someone you admire, someone you want to talk to. And yeah, but before it's pretty much running solo. And if you have your neighbors and your friends and whatnot, but it was, even with my business partner, she ended up being the general manager of the kitchen, and I did all the business stuff. Yeah, but I say build your team now. It's a good time.